We're back, just double checking something. I was trying to get it where there's a smoother transitions, not going to happen. Again, this is Go Out Game Dev, more of the community updates. And again, I'm doing these things to try to reach out to different communities that I see and read stuff that no one seems to be responding to. Today, I am going to be looking at Thank the Devs. I'm going to link Thank the Devs, 2D quick game engines, and what to expect from a platformer. Those are my tangents. I'm gonna bring all those tangents together. So here we go. Let's start. Let's go with the first one right now. So on Game Dev Beginners, one of the Facebook groups that I just happen to read a lot of beginner stuff, we have Rad Guy who says, "Hello guys. Time at this point. I know that ClickFusion is inferior to Unity. This is obvious, but is it worth it? I want something which works fast." Everyone wants something to work fast because development takes forever, and luckily Pan likes brains. Already hit the Slant. Slant is basically like a consumer rating system that shows you the best product. I use Slant. I voted for Construct 2. A lot of people did. I even gave more feedback on the whole, yes, you have to program, and there is coding available, and the more features you want, the more coding you'll have to do, or the programming in the program takes a little bit of time to learn. I've been spent 3 years. I've studied code just a little bit, but I've spent 3 years with Construct 2 to finally do some cool stuff. Anyway, yeah, the votes on Slant are in. You can look right here. Number 1, the best programming engine for non-programmers, for beginners. That is so true. Kids can use this thing with adult supervision. Maybe, who knows. You can learn yourself, and it has all the pros and cons. It is far superior by user reviews than the ClickFusion. So, and the big thing for me, the big pro is that, and Ashley, the developer who developed Construct 2, talked about this. It's not C++ or Visual Basic based. It's HTML5 native. And that's key. So like when Unity actually had a problem when Google and other browsers, I guess, had stopped supporting certain, I don't know if it was Flash, it might have been Flash, but certain things that Unity used to get their games on the web, Construct 2 was easily beating them as far as getting your games out because it was HTML5. So as HTML5 continues to improve, and maybe it goes on to HTML6, making games with Construct 2, it just means it's going to work on the web. So if you really want to get games on the web, that's the game to use the best. And talking about the web, I think it's better to have games that are easily accessible by web browsers and congregate and get feedback and build like a fan base. Again, put in the comments or tell me if I'm full of crap, because there's a lot of things I don't know, and that could be one thing. But those are my thoughts. Having HTML5 game to get people to play a game is very important. Okay, moving back to this. So that relates to his thing about Fusion 2.5. And again, Pen likes brains post about Slant, and I'm going to post this here to respond to that. Moving on from there, I do want to address it's thanks the devs. And thank the devs, the hashtag. If you can see here, is that you've got Krister Catilla. I just like calling him McFunny Pants. It's a lot easier. Again, person I've never talked to face to face. But he's a really cool guy. He does the 1 month a game jams. So it's like 1 jams. Basically every month you make 1 game. He sets up a keynote and you make it, and it's really cool. And he's very active in the community. He's a really nice guy, just an awesome guy, very supportive. And I almost would love to give mint, but I can't. In fact, I can only give credit, much love to Ashley, to a non-game developer who basically has changed my life, and that was Ashley. This dude, pretty cool guy in the beginning. You could email him back and forth before he became really busy. You could Twitter him, all sorts of stuff, and he's this busy developing Construct 3, but yet Construct 2 is still supported, runs very well. Controversies aside, this is the guy, person, programmer, developer I have to be thankful for, because I just didn't like any other the other game making software out there before. I tried Visual Basic, horrible when I was a teenager, couldn't do it. JavaScripting, all that stuff, action scripting. Just never liked it. But Ashley here made Construct 2. Originally Construct 1, you can still find it's open source, I believe. But Construct 2 just changed how it was possible for me to make games. I made my first game with my junior high students in 2013. And that was totally possible because of Construct 2 and because of Ashley. That's why I want to thank the dev. I'm going to give him a shout out here. He's probably super busy. I don't know if he'll plus it, like it, whatever, and basically thank him. Now, moving on, though, there was another developer who, he is a developer, but he's not a developer of Construct, and that was Alex. Because Alex, again, I'm just not going to butcher his name. This guy is great because he had a community that he started in the beginning around 2013, maybe sooner, but when I was very active more in this community and learning Construct, Alex was very patient with me, and he answered a lot of my questions and did a lot of stuff for me that I didn't find on the Construct website, because the Construct 2 forums are very friendly and they're very welcoming, but at the same time, as the years have gone by, there's certain people that just aren't as helpful anymore. And that's the nature of any online community or forum posting. But Alex, in the very beginning, when I started, was so helpful, and he's again a developer. And yeah, I can't thank him enough, which is really cool. Hopefully you watch this video at least, and hear my heartfelt message and thoughts. Now, going along, again, connecting all this stuff and doing my community outreach. What we have here is Llama Gamer. He's a hobbyist, and he says, I've spent some time over the past years as a hobbyist game developer making a platformer game and experimenting with Unity with sorts of mechanics would you guys expect to see from a platformer game where you collect items and defeat enemies. I'm interested in any suggestions for features, controls, mechanics, and map designs. And here's my thing for Llama Gamer is that basically you need to do something different. And I say that because I think that as we're kind of got so many platformers out there, there has to be something that has to be a unique feature of that platformer. I would again, I love extra credits, and they talk about how Mario Brothers, the platformer, is a work of art because of how it teaches how to play the game within 5 seconds of gameplay. But we're over Mario Brothers, and I think if you think of it more like a post-modern argument, since the audience has been trained for the most part of what a platformer is, I mean, excluding again younger kids that may not have grown up with those things, but let's just say that there's a core base of platformer players that is a market that would be looking for a new platformer. You need to do something different, and that's why I'm going to click on this one and say this was different. So again, I don't have my sound on because I'm not the best with this program I'm using, but this is a really cool. It's called Clang. This was all made in Construct 2. Some highlights from the article related to it is that the developer actually is a musician, and he basically made a Metrovania-style musician game. And that little image you saw there, he actually incorporated Blender. So all this is like, he made Blender sprites, and what he did is he rendered the Blender sprites and then churned them into just regular sprites for Construct 2 to read. And this right here, all these little movie bits are actually in the game, because what he did is he took Blender, he made animations, and then he took those animations, and you can actually play them and load them in real time in Construct 2, which creates a very dynamic and beautiful game, as you can see here. And again, this is a platformer, but it's got a beat and music thing. Again, you can hear my voice, you can't hear it, but basically it's got a beat and music thing related to it that makes it very different and unique. So you can read this full article here. I should really start including links to these things, but you can totally just, I mean, I'm not going to make the links easily available, but you can see the links on my screen. You can also Google them. Again, I just do this as a warm-up to start my own game development. But anyway, all the stuff I said is basically paraphrased from his article on the Construct 2 website, which basically talks about how he came up with the style and the feel of the game and all this stuff, and how you got it actually playtesting, all these little things. It's a beautiful article, little blog. You should read it if you're into 2D games. You don't even have to be in Construct 2, just about 2D games in general. You can get a lot from it. Now, again, we talked about art. We gotta love art and all the other stuff, but let's check out the sales of this game. And this is Steam Spy. It's not a Minecraft. What is? But as you can see, as a platformer, I think it did pretty well. It's got, let's see, So again, I'm new to all this stuff. So the way I read this, this is over 2,874 users. There's some other number here that I saw was a little different. So owners, it says, you know, one of like 1,500 to like 1,000. I don't know how to read that yet as far as the owners, but I mean, I like to look at this data, and this shows the owners left access is pretty high. You look at the different prices it was going for, and then again, there's probably with some Steam sales where it's dropped and it's gone up. But that's not bad. And again, this is early. This game has only been released September 22nd, 2016. I like to apply the ideal 10-year rule, that within 10 years that there will be continued sales, and that this game will still continue to make money 10 years going in the future. And not just that, there's potentially the idea that as other games come from this developer, hopefully then that means there'll be a catalog like any art driven business. If you have a catalog of art and you start making a new piece of art, people will backtrack to the older things that you've made, and hopefully that works out. So again, this has been my community outreach. I'll just post these comments or post these videos non-intrusively in the community as I got them. There's one more thing too that I saw that I'll just I don't know. I don't want to be spammy about this stuff, so I might just type out my answer to him instead of trying to talk to him, or I don't know. We'll figure this out. What do you guys think of the importance of releasing all major platforms, iOS, Android, desktop, HTML5, all at the same time? I'm working on a game that I think has promise, and I almost have finished. I'm writing it with libgdx so I could release it on all platforms through that, but especially on iOS, file size takes a big hit. I'm weighing the idea of, this is my excited voice, because I'd be excited if this was where I was at in my development phase, waiting to release until I port the game natively, but I'm worried since it's a relatively simple concept that I might miss opportunity. Thoughts? Well, again, kind of related to the whole thing, it should be a unique idea that you feel is unique enough. What's interesting, you can use Steam Spy also to check on markets that are not been used or tapped into, and versus maybe a trend of games that are coming that you could probably catch. That's just taking the old movie formula thing. If there's a vampire movie, make a vampire another vampire movie to catch the trend, or there's vampire games are big, maybe you can get the next popular vampire game within, I don't know, 3 to 4 years or something. Catching that probably doesn't work that way. Anyway, this is my thoughts as a novice to these things, I guess. No, everything I've read about game design says stick to one platform first. And to me, this is actually a big thing. I might do a different thing if this pops up, but again, now this is like super off on a tangent. This is a totally different topic now. I have to admit that. Tom, shout out to you, buddy. That it's this whole thing that the iOS store to me is a bit expensive. I like the Android market because it's a flat rate fee, but the iOS store is like a continuing annual fee, and I don't know what other fees they charge too. Plus, I do love Mac. I mean, I like them a lot. I don't know if it's love, but I like them a lot. But the whole Mac store and stuff like that, they take a percentage of the sales, so you have to account for that when you sell it. So my concern would be is if you, and this is not just my thoughts. I should mark sources, but atop from the and you have a development kit here that could be really good. It might be super hassle free, but from what I've read and what I've researched, other people have developed in multiple platforms. It takes away time because they have to debug on every platform, and that's a pain. Android especially is listed here. They don't blacklist, so you have all these devices on here. Good luck with that, right? So you can get a lot of negative reviews if you launch a title on Android and people don't want to play your game because it's a bunch of people that don't have a phone or device that will play your game. So that's one thing to consider. It's a big headache to test on all those devices and keep a good player feedback interaction and or be able to debug for everything. But again, I don't know what libgdx does or is, so maybe that's been solved by that program or that suite. But the thing about it is that the other thing I would say is just the cost again. If I again, please, someone, if I'm totally full of like BS, please someone just tell me. But my thoughts are just the expense. Not only do you have to have the iOS store fee costs versus desktop, where there's itch.io, which is, well, I mean, they still take a percentage, but they have no initial cost, right, to put on their store. my thing is that like you have to now advertise also for all those platforms, because you're talking about splitting your base. If you just focused on the casual PC market, which is still pretty good and pretty thriving, I still play casual PC games even though I have a phone. That's good. And again, some of the market watch trends show that people that play on the phones actually go to the PC now. Like that's been the growth development of why PC gaming is growing, because people on the phones want a better game experience, and they actually now are going to PCs versus console. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. So you'd have to market that. So for example, you use Facebook. God, this is going, oh, not too bad. Okay, we're going on time. So if you use Facebook for your advertising platform, again, I wouldn't suggest that, very expensive. But let's just say you do, and you want to advertise, for the PC markets. That wouldn't be the best, because I think that from the advertisements that I've seen that I've gotten is that phone ads, like phone apps, are the best, because person's on their Facebook phone, they click it, and they go right to the iTunes store or whatever. Well, that's a marketing budget, right? You're going to spend a certain amount of money marketing your game on that. And so I would say if you want to go iOS, you just focus on iOS and you focus on the casual experience, and maybe like games like Lumberjack, you port it to Steam after, right? Because then you've made money from the costs of the marketing, all that stuff on Facebook as a primary source to market it, and people then click back. Same with Twitter, would be the same idea, right? You have a game, they're on their phone, they click on it, they go to the iOS store, the Apple store, or whatever, the App Store, they buy it. Perfect. Again, tell me if I'm wrong on this model, the internet, please. Now, the thing though is that now if I wanted to go and do a green light to get on the PC market, and then I want to go to the iOS, that doubles my marketing budget, maybe triples it, God knows, whatever, right? Because now I'm looking at two different markets at the same time. Now, that means I have to spend, that much time on my social and then promoting it. And that's also kind of rough. I mean, I do see bigger games launch on multiple platforms, but I really think that you should take a page from Behemoth. And Behemoth just released their current game. Let me check it out really quick. Now I'm tangents. Okay, this is it. I swear to God. And then now I've definitely got to post this thing. I misspelled Behemoth. It should pop it up. But oh my gosh, is it Behemoth? So anyway, the thing about Behemoth is the game company's got to pop up, right? Behemoth Games, is that for they had Castle Crashers, and they focused primarily, like their whole thing is basically been about making games for Xbox Live, and they're mentioned in that indie game dev movie too, and they released Castle Crashers, I believe, the same time Super Meat Boy was released. And the thing about Behemoth is it's the first time that Behemoth is actually doing a double release. So like BitBlock Theater, Alien Hominid, Castle Crashers were all Xbox Live titles first, and then they moved to Steam. And like even Castle Crashers got a special Steam treatment. So finally, after like, we're talking 10 years, okay, they decided that they can put up with the headaches because the demand was good enough on their product from all the data they got from customers and selling, that they would spend the money, time to market and develop on two different platforms for pit people, which was Steam PC and Xbox Live. That's 10 years of making money for those 10 years. So my thing is that I guess in response, again, community outreach, and again, I hope, gosh, I'm so bad reading names. Tame, I'm so sorry. Butcher my name all you want. If you really, I don't know where you're in your career or your cycle in. I don't know if you're a 5-year dev, a 10-year dev, a first-time dev. Unless you've been selling for 10 years games on one single platform, or making money on maybe for the last 2 or 3 years, and you see that on your sales data there is a high enough demand on another platform, or different sales data, maybe not your own because you're thinking of branching out, and you see that there is a market trend that you say, oh, okay, my game, it totally fits that, develop for those two platforms. And that would be 2 platforms. If you want to develop for all the platforms, Again, I don't know what libgdx does. It could be this miracle thing that a game changer, game changer. But I wouldn't do it. I don't want to go too much over time. I guess I'm putting this again. I do this before I'm actually going to developing my own card game. I'm going to Twitch that. Still practicing with Twitch. So I say this to the internet. If anything I have said is off, wrong, or you've got an opinion or suggestion, please tell me. I am not by far a perfect individual, and I definitely want to do this as community outreach. And I'm again trying to talk to people about stuff. So again, if you got any better ways or thoughts or comments, not to be cheesy or because that's the thing you're supposed to say, I really do want to hear back from people. I'm really trying to just do some outreach. And so yeah, comments, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is. Okay, so kind of going with the theme of this whole thing of why I've titled it Go Out. Again, the name of the game I'm developing is Go Out, but this just came to mind. If you're going to die, and I know this is a very bit morbid thing, but it's true. If you're going to die, the one thing you need to remember is you should go out game dev. If you want to make games. If you don't want to make games, do something else before you die. I want to say God bless you, but that's weird. I don't know. That's weird. Okay, I'm going to go now. I'm going to click. Really got to work on these exits. I'm still talking to myself. You know what? I should edit these more.